I'd like to talk about each song and get your thoughts on those. And
Yeah.
you know, we'll try to do it quickly. The title track is the first track, and I like the opening flourish on the piano. I thought that was a. I'm not sure if you based the song around that or whether that was just added to begin it.
No, I had the theme. The instrumental theme that came after it, played by the guitar.
Right.
I had it, in a simple way, but then I started exploring that theme, and I found that I could play it, in this 16th mode,
Mm-hmm.
a really quick pattern of notes, and that felt good. So I used it under the guitar as well, but that it's not so obvious. So I thought, well, if I want people to hear it, I'd better start with it.
It really starts the record out nice. It just
Yeah. I thought spectacular beginning. So
yes,
yeah,
and I love the instrumentation from everybody. I mean, in that song, it's just really nice. And this will come back as a theme. The voices are just the singing is just top notch.
yeah. We have incredible singers in the band. Yeah,
Right. It's just the vocal phrasing and the way it's put in is just
yeah.
very well written.
Thank
I
you.
applaud you on that.
It's one of the things that I enjoy doing. Besides the instrumental part, I'm a huge Beach Boys fan, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's always, I'm always trying to get that same idea. Well, not the same idea. I'm not copying, but
Sure.
it's a big inspiration for me. So whenever I get the chance in a song to do that, I'll fit in harmonies.
Yeah, and you could use it as another instrument too. I mean,
I do. Yes.
yeah. The second and the fifth tunes, I think, are the ones that Inside Out said that were going to be singles, Waiting and Mystery. And
Yeah, and the title track as well. The title track will be released next week.
okay,
A
yeah, I
week
think
before the
Roy
album.
did say that he was going to do one more. Okay, and that'll give a better, not a better, but a different representation because I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
these two songs were kind of similar in that.
Uh, I don't really agree. I think Mystery is totally different from Waiting.
Oh, I meant
But
I meant shorter and more.
oh yeah. But the point is there is no one song that represents the album,
Yes,
I think.
good point. Yeah, you're right.
So whatever single you choose, I mean, it's very arbitrary.
Yeah,
Could have
that's a
been any.
that's a great reason to buy it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got a '70s pop rock vibe from the Waiting song, and sort of it kind of reminded me of "You Really Got Me," little Kinks, and
Okay, never heard that before. That comparison. I think You Really Got Me is more energetic, more raw. This is
exactly.
more stylish. This more, but yeah, I had this theme on. I made a guitar sound on the keyboard,
Yeah,
and I kept it simple. Of course, there's some things are happening in the chorus, but I like pop music, and I like to play pop music, and I don't want to be stuck in a prog rock label or in a ballad label or any label for that matter. It's just I want to write as diverse as I can within the limits of a band. Even I mean to write you can't very well put a country song and then a hard rock. That's silly. But without the boundaries and the possibilities of a band, I mean they could play it, if I asked them, no problem. But I won't ask them, and I won't make many friends under the fence, I think. But no, I'm not limited by people thinking, oh, it's too much pop, and no. Personally, it's one of my favorites, and I like it.
well, there's a lot of syncopation and there's a lot of room for the instrumentation. So I
Yeah,
mean,
it's very open.
it's not your pop song where it's just AABA. It's something that's
No. There's more to it, but it sounds for kayak standards, it sounds pretty simple. And
and
but I think the openness of the production is working very well on this one, and
yeah,
especially Marcel's voice has such a special vibe. It's almost like you hear Bowie sing, as many people say.
that's funny, and this is going to sound like I'm lying, but I was
Yeah,
just going to ask you who's singing because he sounds like David Bowie.
yeah. It's the guitar player Marcel.
And so it's
He
Marcel.
sings.
Okay.
Yeah, he sings two other songs as well, as the
Okay.
crowd flies
Right. Okay.
and Carrie on the last side. Yeah,
Okay. That
yeah,
makes sense. And the crow flies. Okay, good. Because that kind of clears up some stuff for me because I wasn't sure what he sung and what Bart sung. But yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I got that David Bowie. Maybe
yeah.
it's where they're from, you know, in England. I don't know, you know, why that
What you
is.
mean? Where they're from?
I mean, you know, maybe if they're from the same area, who knows, you know, as David Bowie. So I have no
Who?
idea.
The singer?
Yeah,
No, he's from
from
The
Holland.
Hague. He's from Holland.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. So the third song, great rock riff, Under a Scar.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
um just the
Yeah,
rock.
well, that's a little rock symphony.
Yeah.
No, it's the story of Electra, and it's the story of revenge, which generally isn't a great idea. And so, yeah, well, it's just it's one of the things I love from about Greek myths and legends. You know, the themes are big, but it is at the same time they're still valid these days.
Yeah.
Revenge and the never-ending cycle of revenge, and well, in this case, it's a story about a brother and a sister, and lots of murders in the family, and you don't want to be explicit, but I'm using the story as a framework for a song, and the song goes back to the beginning,
Mhm.
which represents the cycle of revenge, and I like to make structures like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting how you can, you know, tie in the lyrics, you know, the lyrical structure to
It's
the
Yeah,
music.
but it's not that I think, before I'm going to write, oh yeah, I'm going to make a cycle in this song.
Right.
It's while I'm working on it, I think, that's how it works. And you find out why you're playing and why you're creating.
Sure.
And that's the adventure in writing for me.
Yeah. The next song, is it Kaya or Kaja?
Kaja.
Kaja.
Kaja, it's the name of Marcel's son. He was born during the making of this tune.
I see. And it seems to me a guitar vehicle. So I guess he had a lot of room in that, or
It was written for guitar for him
I see.
only. There's no vocal on that track, so and because it's his solo part, just and so we decided to call it to name it after his son that was just born, and
Yeah.
because he had no sleep at all, of course, and
Yeah, it's one of the longer is one of the longer guitar pieces because I find a lot of his solos are kind of neat, like Brian May, where
yeah,
he's in and he's chromatically just
yeah,
moving in and out.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is like a guitar who sings the melody.
Yes.
And that's the way the song builds. It could have been a vocal, but it's not. It's a guitar, and he's playing it wonderfully. So yeah,
Yeah. And then five is mystery and very catchy chorus and lyrical
yeah,
spacing in that. I really like that a lot. It
yeah.
just gets you. The sixth tune is my favorite on the record, Critical Mass. I
Okay,
kind of get a Kansas vibe out of that. Um,
okay, okay.
something that they would do back in the day.
I don't know them very well. I just know that they once planned to make a tour with Kayak in Kansas in '78. It
Oh,
never came through, but
yeah,
um, so I've vaguely heard their music. So I
sure.
believe you. I believe you.
Yeah. um, I like the guitar at the 4 minute mark. It's a backed up. The musicians backing it up are just. I think a
Yeah,
great
yeah, yeah.
guitar lead is supported by, you know, great bass and drum line too. And
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. So important. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I got something about the 2 minute mark about the keys solo. I must have liked it a lot. The keyboard solo.
I wouldn't know what it is. I don't have the 2 minute mark here with me. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, the track seven, As the Crow Flies, at the beginning, is that just all keyboard or is there a voice in there too? It's very
The
it's
instrumental part, you mean the intro?
right. I'm not sure whether it's
I'm sure there is. To me, it doesn't sound like a voice, but it could be an extra. It's not. It's not a real voice anyway. It's if
okay.
it
So
is,
it's keyboard.
it comes from a keyboard. It's part of the arrangement. Yeah, yeah.
Sure, that makes sense.
Like a sort of flute-like voice in the background. Yeah.
It's a nice song, and this is another one where the vocals are just top notch. Are
Yeah.
just
Well, it's Marshall. It's Marshall again,
okay.
and yeah, we have 70 minutes of music on this album, and we have got three great vocalists. So it's a luxury to be able to pick the best songs for the best vocalist,
Yeah,
and so everybody has the best points coming out on the album,
got.
and yeah,
So Bart
yeah,
sings the next one, number 8, I guess. So the way she said goodbye. I
yeah,
guess
yeah,
that would be
yeah,
Bart. That's another
yeah,
nice,
yeah,
just another one. And then I guess we're back to the 70s pop rock in track 9 with Trader's Gate.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Sort of
And
like a Toto song. I kind of
it
get that.
does, it does. It's I wrote it together with the drummer.
Uh-huh.
And well, I wrote it together is not quite true. It's I wrote it on the pattern that he's playing. He starts with it, but
Okay.
it's the pattern he always plays at sound checks.
I really
And
like that might be my
he's
favorite keyboard theme on the record. So that's how it was developed, huh?
yeah, he started with this for years he did this because
Mhm.
he's using all his toms and all his cymbals and hi-hats and whatever he's got there, he's using. And he's not only playing with us, he's a very much asked session drummer in Holland.
Okay.
And wherever he plays this. So I said to him, I want to use that pattern that you play. I'm going to make a song of it. He said, yeah, you're the 10th in line. Nobody ever does it. So after 2 months, I gave him the file. I said, this is the song that nobody made.
Right.
And so he was excited, and I credited him as a writer because without him, the song wouldn't have been there at all.
Yeah. I'm glad he did because I think every song on this record has a purpose. There's no real filler to them.
No, fillers, I leave them out.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they call them fillers, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I'm finding myself doing something I don't usually like to do, comparing it to other artists. But the next track, "Distance to Your Heart," reminds me of something that Neil Morse would write.
Neil
Um,
Morse. Okay, I've heard many names, but Neil Morse wasn't until now one of them. For
yeah,
me, it's a mix between ELO and the Beatles.
yeah. I guess I'm talking about he writes so many songs in the same kind of structure, and it's
Okay.
yeah,
It's a very simple song structure, really. But
exactly.
I had this beginning theme of the piano, da, bum, 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 and then I thought of a huge cello arrangement over it, like the Walrus, and of course ELO. ELO comes up in mind, and I thought it just worked very very well for the song. And it's incredible to how many bands and artists this album is compared because it's so eclectic.
Yes,
Everybody hears other artists in these songs and still think it's Kayak, and
but it's kayak, exactly.
it's so funny for me that yeah,
And the
yeah,
thing
it's
that
great.
makes this particular song so great is that you got the backing vocals again, which
Yeah,
are,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
you've got that guitar lead that's just like Brian. It's
yeah.
just it's interesting. It's very,
Yeah, it's very short, and he can his solos. He's got complete freedom, in those 16 bars or whatever it is, and he always amazes me. He
yeah,
always does something that I don't expect,
yes. I had a
and
guitar player tell me once that, and had never heard this before, that most solos should only be like 10 or 15 seconds. I mean, most of the time you hear like, I want to play forever.
yeah, but I think the solo is a song in itself.
Hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah, and there's a beginning, there's a middle part, and an ending, and there has to be a connection, and it has to be. I think you have to remember it, as if you could sing it. And
Yes.
if you make solos of 2 minutes, that's a different kind of band. You know, we are not interested in long solos. It has to. It's all. I always say the song is master, and we serve the song. And if the solo is longer than whatever 16 bars, it's not a style. It's not a kind of music. You know, he could easily do 2 minutes and still be interesting. But as a writer, I don't find it interesting.
Right. Yeah, especially when you have all the songs on, I mean, so much music on the record anyway.
Right. We could do it live, you know. You can live, you can make longer solos, no problem. And everybody can, you know, you make the energy and you can keep on going. You don't spoil anything. But in this is a song, and it's silly if you have a 3 minute song, you make a 2 minute solo. So
Sure. And track 11, Red Rag to a Bull. Great. I guess it's a metaphor. Great metaphor.
sure.
And an off the wall question, and this begs it. You have the fade out, where you have the singing fading out. How long do you
Yeah.
record that? You know, and then you truncate it. In other words, like, do they keep going a couple more bars, and then you just, you know, as it fades out?
Well, with computers, you can extend it as long as you want, of course. I think we had like 8 bars or so.
I say. So it's
And
the
if you have,
same. It's the same repeating.
it's
Whereas,
repeating, yeah. Well, there's it changes a little bit, you know. After 2 times, there's another voice, and well, that's the funny thing with computers. You can drag and forward and backward until, but you know, the basic idea is what I have in mind, and I sing them to myself, and then I put them on demos, and then divide them between all the vocalists in the band. But it's easy to decide to repeat something or to put it somewhere else. But the
okay.
basic idea is made in one time. Yes.
It's funny because you got a song like Hey Jude where they would actually have to sing it over and
Yeah.
over again. And then McCartney,
Well,
yeah,
yeah. Well, it happened that they took the tape and they started it at a certain point, but you have to do it 10 times to get it right once.
gotcha.
So,
Yeah, that makes
and I know that happened. I'm sure Queen did it, and you know, start backing vocals in at a certain point. But you need a bit of a luck to have it exactly right. And yeah, that's a lot easier now.
and we have an acoustic guitar in this one, right? Sort of paralleling the electric in this
Yeah,
song.
well, it's Spanish, the
Okay.
Spanish influence, and you know,
The bull.
it's
Yeah, of course.
yeah, of course, yeah. I don't need to explain that.
Right in front of my face. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. The next one by One, which I thought was you, but that's
That's
Christoph.
Christopher. Christopher,
Very
yeah.
good. And what else do I have? Sort of an odd ragtime ending at the end of that.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a heavy song. You know, it's
Sure.
a sort of tribute to people that passed away. It started off. Wait a minute, my something is happening here in my screen. Yeah, it started off. I started writing it as a sort of tribute to rock stars that they die all over the place at the moment. You know, everybody rock was something of young people.
Yeah.
It's no longer. So, everybody gets older. So, the old stars died. And I almost was one of them last year. So, but, I wrote it before that.
Sure.
And so that's what but then I started writing the lyrics further. And now it's a general thinking about, the natural way things happen in life. Born, you get older, and then you make room for the next generation, and in a way I think that's comforting. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't want to live forever. Yeah, you want to live forever, but it's not going to happen. And I think if you have the choice,
Yeah.
It's not so difficult. But
Make the best with what you got now.
yeah, and so it's it's in a way it's a sad and a heavy song because of the subject. It's dying. It's not a bundle of laughs. It's not joy, but on the other hand, it's comforting. But because it was so heavy, and the ending is very symphonic and almost theatrical.
Yes.
I had to make a counterbalance.
Okay.
And so I put the rec time, it's nothing going on here, and it's not so bad, it's just an
Yeah, it's sort of
easy.
like a what does it matter anyway in the end? Yeah, sort of thing.
Yeah. Make it not so heavy as
Lighten it up,
the thing
sure.
that lighten it up. Yeah, that's the right word. Yeah,
I had the word stately written down for the tune, so yeah.
yeah, it is. Yeah.
Um,
So yeah.
I'm not. I've never seen kayak live, so I'm not sure whether you do any solo pieces within the concert. But it seems like the first 2 minutes of this song would be a perfect Tom Scherpenzeel, coming out just playing the piano.
Which songs are you talking
Oh,
about
this
now?
one, the one by one, because it's
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of just you, for the first part of it, before it builds. So I always thought it
Well,
was,
and the vocalist. I
and the
mean,
vocals, of course.
yeah. No, for me, it's really a vocal song and not something that I could. If anything, I would do it at the end
I see, because I was under
for
the
live.
impression I had thought this was your song, instead of the last one. So
Yeah. No. It's Christopher who sings it. Yeah,
that makes
yeah,
sense. The 13th track is the longest one on the record, A Writer's Tale.
yeah.
Um, I kind of get 4 or 5 parts out of it. I think maybe the last part repeats for the first. It's
Yeah.
sort of
It's
like an
the
epic.
going back to the beginning. Yeah, this is the most adventurous one for me because while I was writing it, I really had no idea where I was going,
Okay.
and I just sometimes I have a structure in mind, and then I know I write them like a puzzle, if you want. So
Mhm.
so if I have a song that has 5 parts and I have part one and part three and part five, I know I still have to do part two and part four. Yeah,
Sure.
and it's a sort of puzzle, but there's a logic in it.
Mhm.
But a writer's tale has no logic. While I was writing, I was just waiting what is going to happen with me while I was thinking of a next theme and a next idea. And then, well, that makes the different sections, which I think, make it interesting.
Yeah.
And pretty hard to write the lyrics to, but that's another question. But it was really an adventure. I didn't know where I was going, and at
As
the
long as you
end,
can tie the parts together too, because that's the one.
no, because I did write them one after the other.
Sure.
It was not a combination of I put them together after I've written it. No, I really made it like the way it's grown.
Sure.
Only I decided to put the ending is the beginning, to make it a complete cycle. If now it's not really a cycle, but there's it makes the ending
Sure.
understandable.
Yeah.
And but halfway I started also writing the lyrics, so that became the puzzle, because then I had to I had this length of a song, and then I had the subject, of course, the writer's tale, that about a writer that is basically being overwhelmed by his own the character that he wrote in his book.
Oh.
And yeah, if you read the lyrics, I don't think you have the lyrics, do you?
No.
No, I think that's silly that Inside Out doesn't send the lyrics. I mean, it's part of it's so essential for the album.
Yeah, I did. No, I don't think I do. I'm not. I don't think.
No, I think I've checked this afternoon. Nobody gets the lyrics. I think that's so much information there. Anyway, it's about a writer who has to kill his own character in
That's
order to
that's a
survive. He falls in love, and he's he does everything that she wants, and it's like a thought game,
yeah.
yeah, I like to, every now and then I like to write something like that, but it fits the music, like it's weird and something is off, and yeah, but that was like a puzzle, getting the lyrics stretched over the whole song.
That's a great theme because a lot of writers are like that too. They're very close to their characters and have to put themselves into it.
Yeah, you start, I'm not a writer, I mean,
Sure.
not a book writer, novel writer, but I can imagine that, once you've written a character in your book and you make another one and a third one, uh, then you sort of get commanded by that character, because in the beginning you think of what could he or she do, but after 3 books, that's not you're directed by the character itself, and that was the starting idea of, well, maybe he's falling in love with his own character, and she lets him do what she wants,
Sure.
and that's why, as he is a thriller writer, there has to be some plot, so he has to kill her off.
So why not? Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's keep it cheerful. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny when you talk about, bringing the theme back. One of my favorite bands is Iron Maiden, but they have a fault in a lot of their songs where they're always repeating the very first part at the very end.
Okay.
They have a lot of songs like that where they have to, like, Yes used to do the same thing too on their long epics. They would take their theme, and I guess
it's logical
to remind people. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also sometimes that's the way you write, and
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the 14th, yeah, the next to last song we talked about, Carrie.
Yeah.
I think Casey Kasem would love that song. That would just fit perfectly in American Top 40. It's just a great song. Fit right in there. Yeah.
It's like one of those pop songs that I would like to write and like to play.
Sure.
Sometimes I'm a very simple pop lover, and yeah.
Is there a cowbell in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought I heard some
more cowbell.
Exactly. If I'd ever hear that again, it's like,
I would say it.
That's funny. And the last tune is a very good closer. Ship of the Theseus?
Theseus.
Yeah.
Theseus. Yeah. You need the lyrics for that one as well.
Okay.
It's a thought experiment. It's a metaphor for, well, I won't say it, but you'll find it. It's the thought experiment. Also, Theseus is an old Greek sailor.
Okay.
And what he does is he takes he goes out sailing, and he sails around the seas, conquering countries, whatever he does, and slowly, one by one, well, another one by one, the parts of the ships are replaced. So by the end, when he comes back after 3 years, the whole ship is replaced.
Okay.
The question is this still the same ship?
Yeah.
And the other question is, if you took the old parts together, would that be the old ship?
Okay.
But, the new ship made the journey, in fact, and the old ship didn't experience all those things that the new ship has, but it is the old material. So it's a thought experiment. It's like a paradox, if you want.
And you got that all under 4 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's yeah. But that's why I made the title of it, because so it's more clear.
Yeah.
But well, the analogy is kayak, of course.
Sure. And the people like me have to hit over the head with the meaning, because one thing a lot of artists say is, oh, it's whatever you get out of it. No, it's you wrote the song.
Well,
you tell me.
No, I don't agree with that, because sometimes I think it's nice to explain a lyric, but
Right.
Most important thing is that what the listener hears in it.
Sure.
And if they want to know what the writer thinks it is about, they should listen to you and to me and to interviews. But to
Makes
me,
sense.
it's more important what people get out of it.
Okay.
And not what I put into it. I should be happy with it, and I should be, content that it's what I meant, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean that it's that what the people read.
Yeah, that makes sense.